Welcome to the Observeday podcast, the show where we celebrate the days that matter. From holidays to meaningful observances, we bring you inspiring conversations, stories, and ideas to make each day count. Whether it's raising awareness, learning something new, or simply sparking joy, this is your space to explore the calendar in a whole new way. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I'm excited to share today's observance with you. Let's dive in. Jane McGuiness is a registered clinical counselor and author of Always Hungry, a raw and funny memoir about emotional eating, body image, and finding self worth. After losing 103 pounds, navigating divorce, and raising three children, including one autistic and one transgender, Jane turned her personal transformation into professional purpose. She now helps people break free from toxic diets, culture, embrace self acceptance, and find emotional balance through mindfulness and compassion. Her work invites us to rethink what true self improvement really means, not chasing perfection, but cultivating peace, humor, and authenticity. Welcome to the podcast, Jane.
Thank you. Thank you, Wisdom, and thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Your book is called it's called Always Hungry. For some reason, I'm just feeling really hungry now. I don't know. Seems the title of your book triggered the hunger in me. I'm curious, was that the first the first choice for the title of the book, or was that more like the final shortlisted title?
Thank you for the question. The first choice was actually hungry, and then we went with always hungry for a few reasons. And I've heard that from other people too, with the cheesecake on the cover. It immediately they do think of food, but of course, the title had a far deeper meaning for me because, yes, the irony was I was always hungry, but rarely was I physically hungry for food. And I realized on my journey that I was hungry for so much more, and I'm still hungry, but now it's hungry for life, for adventure, for travel, for experiences. And part of my healing journey was getting to the root cause of my emotional eating because, like so many others, we're eating because we're anxious, we're under stress, we're upset. There are so many reasons we eat that have nothing to do with physical hunger. So for me, it was working out, what was I hungering for? Because it wasn't food. So that was really essential to get to the bottom of that and then unpack it and address it. And of course, then begin to heal.
Wow. The book Always Hungry. We all have stories, we all have experiences, we all have lessons.
Mhm.
But I'm curious, what was the exact inspiration that led you to say, okay, I'm going to write a book?
Mm. Um, yeah, great question. I'd come through the divorce and I'd gone back to school. So I was working as a registered clinical counselor here in BC. And while I loved the work, I was ready for a new challenge. And it hit me that I had a story that I felt had to be told for many, many reasons, because as a slim white woman now in society, I'm treated very well. And I realized that was very, very wrong because I have this, pretty privilege, like thin privilege is very real. And it's wrong that I'm treated very well because when I was in a much larger body, I was the same human on the inside, of course, the same soul, but treated very differently. And not just by men, by everybody. And now because I look a certain way, I get life is so much easier to navigate in the world. And I have that privilege and that's wrong. And I wanted to speak out against that. I also realized that I wanted to share the story of moderation because what I've learned is that you can lose weight and keep it off without ridiculous diets. And, so I wanted to speak out against the insanity of diet culture and, the nonsense of the crazy diets. There's a new one every week or there's all kinds of interventions, of course, drastic sometimes, when people have half their stomach removed or more or stapled and, so I wanted to share my experience of losing weight the old fashioned way because I think it doesn't sell books. So we don't hear, we don't hear about the people as often that just go for a walk and start moving their body and making healthier choices and naturally lose weight slowly. So I wanted to share that also and share what for me was critical, which is also the psychological, emotional piece that I better understand now, of course, having studied postgraduate psychology, the root causes of why we often emotionally eat and comfort eat when we're not hungry. So I wanted to speak to that, my experience in the hopes that I can help people. And if I help just a few people by writing this book on this journey, get to the bottom of their emotional eating and why they may be comfort eating and carrying more weight than they want on their body. And if they want to make healthy, sustainable changes, then I hope to help with that. So there was a few reasons I felt I had to write the book. And I also absolutely love to write. So now I can't stop writing. I'm working on my next couple of books as we speak, and it's become, it sets my world on fire. So I just can't do anything else at this point but write full time.
One of the things you mentioned is, people in a culture obsessed with diet and perfection.
Mm-hmm.
How can people pursue self-improvement without falling into shame or comparison?
Yes, exactly. And I learnt these lessons. It was so tough for the longest time. And I speak to this in my book, even after losing the weight, because I've lost it and kept it off for a decade now, which most people don't do. But I would still have body dysmorphia in the early days. I still didn't feel good enough. I became, and we have this toxic world, of course, with social media where we're constantly comparing ourselves to, 18-year-olds, people that are airbrushed, people that have, it's just, and this obsession with, ultra slim, ultra skinny again. And, I see the pendulum swinging backwards, back the other way, thanks to Ozempic and people. Now people are being celebrated for looking emaciated again. And yeah, it's quite terrifying and disturbing. So yeah, it's not easy. And I wanted to share my lived experience of finding peace within and self-acceptance. And of course, now my weight settled just at a very happy, healthy weight, and I'm comfortable and active. And we can all get there. But it's a journey, absolutely.
Yeah.
And getting to that point of self-acceptance and of realizing what we're seeing online is usually not reality and it's not healthy. And you can spend a lifetime trying to lose 5 or 10 pounds and be miserable and hating the size of your thighs. Or you can choose to, do the work
No.
and mhm.
What do you think are some of the hidden dangers of tying our self-worth to our appearance, our weight? Now, I know from this conversation we're talking about appearance, weight, but it's not just restricted to appearance, weight. People tie their self-worth to their what do you call it now, to their job, their title, their career, and so many other things, right? What are
Mm.
some of the hidden dangers of doing that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's the very real physical dangers. I mean, there are people everywhere globally still dying in a world of plenty for most of us, certainly here in the West. There are still people dying from anorexia, from food restriction. So I absolutely encourage, and other eating disorders, of course, encourage anybody struggling to reach out and seek professional help. Find a therapist, find somebody who you feel comfortable with, and do that work, because it's not easy, because the messages we've all been told forever, myself included, is that you need to be slim at all costs. It's not acceptable in society, and it's still not. I mean, yes, there's talk, of course, body positivity, body neutrality. My feeling is that we still have a long way to go, a very long way to go, and so it absolutely, I think, often takes extra professional help. Yeah, resources. There's a lot of great books out there people can access, support communities, online. Yeah, there's a lot of resources out there, but it's not easy to get to that place of recognizing your own inherent worth and shutting out the diet noise, the diet culture nonsense. I say, restricting what you're viewing online, minimizing that, because it is so unhealthy. We receive this barrage of messages every day telling us that we're not allowed to be wrinkled, we're not allowed to have a few extra pounds, and
Yeah.
God forbid, if we're larger, in a larger body, people are deemed less worthy. The studies all show, people are judged as being lazy, less intelligent than their slim counterparts. I mean, this is all just, it's outrageous and it's false, but these false beliefs still exist today in society, and this makes me really sad, which was another reason I had to speak out. Like, I shouldn't be treated any better than anybody else in a body of any size simply because of my external form, but I am. And we all judge others. And it starts with us
Yeah.
in recognizing that we all have these inherent biases.
Before we dive deeper, I'd love to invite you to join the Observeday newsletter. Every week, I send you highlights of upcoming observances, creative ways to celebrate, and behind the scenes extras from the shows. It's the perfect way to stay inspired and never miss a meaningful moment. Sign up today at observeday.com/join. That is observeday.com/join. Now let's get back to the conversation. I kind of see you as a time traveler. The reason being, uh, you
Mm-hmm.
you've gone through the experience, and then you went back and you
Mm.
collected those experience and you wrote it into a book, a memoir, right? And how do you define
Oh.
real self-improvement
Mm-hmm.
after everything you've lived through and written through?
Oh, well, I love yeah, I love that concept. Thank you. Because I guess when I wrote the book, I was traveling back in time because I had to unpack and figure out really where my disordered eating began, the causes, the triggers, and the journey of healing. I mean, there's so many people far, far wiser than I that helped on this journey. I discovered Tara Brach's book, Radical Acceptance. Um, that was, so many, Brene Brown's work. I mean, so many incredible, brilliant people that helped me get to that point of self-acceptance. And
How has your definition of self-improvement changed? It's
mm, hmm
since after your experience and writing the book and all that. What is the
I think,
perspective you have now of self-improvement?
yeah, thank you. I think it's evolved. I've always wanted to strive to learn. And I mean, I'm constantly reading as a lifelong learner and voracious reader, but I think my definition's evolved in that I recognize, well, it's like a bit of a paradox, when we have to first accept before we can change. So that's where Tara Brach's work on radical acceptance was so pivotal in my journey, realizing I need to accept where I am before we can make any changes in our lives. So for myself, yeah, it absolutely comes back to just recognizing that as humans, none of us, some of us wouldn't agree with this or understand it or appreciate it, but we're all absolutely equal. We're all born, we all die. We have the same human experience. The same. We all experience loss, pain, heartache. Love, irrespective of whether we're rich or poor, whether we're in a large body or a small body. Whether irrespective of where we're born in the world. I think recognizing when you look at another human, there's under everything. Then they're not that different. We other each other so quickly. And yeah, like to categorize people and judge, but really, I just truly believe in the one universal energy. We're all interconnected and we're all one. I think recognizing that and recognizing that we're all equally worthy of love and kindness and compassion was key for me. Realizing that's all we need to do every day is get up and give, starting with ourselves, that love and compassion, and then when you give that to everybody else, it comes back to you. It's like the Buddhists say.
Yeah.
I do believe you get back what you give. So that's my goal every day now, is just absolutely to give everybody I meet love and kindness to the best of my ability and compassion. And so that does start with myself, and it's taken certainly well into my 40s to get to that point where I can be compassionate and not judge, the size of my thighs or if I feel a bit bloated or, these ridiculous things that don't matter, because this is just the physical form I'm in. I mean, this is my body, but it's, the soul within. Yeah, I certainly believe that endures we're all interconnected. That's my feeling. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Writing this book, I know it had a lot of reflection, introspection, a lot of looking back.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the process like? What I mean by process, what I'm getting to is um w- was it healing? Was it what was the transformation you had from writing the book? Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you. It was incredibly cathartic and healing because I needed to make peace with who I was. There was a lot of shame, and of course, I realized that was tied up in being told by society, by everybody, that it's not okay to be overweight. It's not okay to be in a larger body. It's not acceptable, and I wasn't good enough. But yeah, the process of writing the book helped me to make peace with my childhood, my father, the mean girls at school, like all of it. And then recognizing that I needed to let go of the shame, because I'd carried a lot of shame about being a long time ago in a much larger body. See, I mean, I've lived in Canada a long time. And so my friends here, no one knew. I mean, a very few very close friends knew that I used to be extremely, well, let's just say in a much, much larger body. But no one else knew. And some people, when I told them, just simply didn't believe me. But I hadn't told them, and I'd kept it a secret because there was a lot of shame tied up in my former physical body. And that was incredibly sad, because I was attaching that to my self-worth. So I then, of
Yeah.
course, now that I receive far better treatment in society, which is unfair based on my body, I had to make peace with that and recognize that it doesn't matter whether I'm in a large or a small body. We're all entitled, and we're all equally worthy of love and kindness and acceptance. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, it was incredibly healing to be able to own who I was and where I'm at, and say, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't change our inherent self-worth as a human on this planet. Yes, I'm more comfortable and I maintain my health because I love to bike and ski and I'm very active and I love healthy food. But what I really want to impress upon people is that, yeah, it's incredibly sad that to this day, we still judge someone in a larger body and don't treat them as well, because, God forbid they're not a size 4, which it's just so outrageous, and it's just incredibly sad. But yes, the writing of the book was extremely healing. And I feel as if I've taken my power back, or stepped into it, maybe by owning my story and saying, this is who I was. And I'm not going to be
It
ashamed
was.
anymore. I'm
Could we call
proud
it
of
a rite
the
of
fact that I
passage?
did this.
Uh,
Exactly. I mean, I had to do this, I think, to make peace. So now I'm at the point where I do want to help others if they're interested in learning about how I navigated emotional eating. I'm human. I still have challenging days, of course. We all do.
yeah.
I mean, I have lots of tools in my toolbox, so I know what to do. But yeah, it's a lifelong journey. And I do want to help other people who struggle with emotional eating, because it's quite universal. The more people I talk to, I find everybody, irrespective of gender, at one time or another has struggled with comfort eating. And it's often, when it's done on a daily basis, as I say in my book, it's extremely unhealthy for our health, for our body. And I mean, I saw the end result, when I wound up in a much larger body due to emotional eating.
Emotional eating.
Mm,
A
yeah.
lot of persons
Yeah.
that are emotional eaters, they're not even aware that they're emotional eaters.
Exactly. That's right. Because there's this disconnect, without that interoceptive awareness of being aware of what's going on in the body, signals of hunger and fullness, they can get completely shut down, because, when that sympathetic nervous system's activated and we're under stress, people are just eating to feel safe in the body. They're just eating to distract. They're just, often there's no respect for the food or the body, because there's just no awareness. It's just mindless eating, which is why mindfulness has become a big piece of my healing journey too. I meditate daily, make sure, get some physical exercise, some yoga, practice some mindfulness, even if it's just a few minutes on a busy day, just coming back into the body, because when we're not in the body, we can't begin to know what our body needs. Whether we are hungry, or we need to lie down, or we need a glass of water. There's just no awareness. So that's been huge. And so, yeah, interoceptive awareness that I speak about later in the book, and would like to share, we'll certainly be writing more about in the second book, is really, really also critical in getting on top of, okay, let's just reconnect with the body and let's figure out what our bodies need.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
what are some of the signs, right? So people can just like look at it and say, "Oh yeah, I'm an emotional eater," because it's hard to solve a problem you're not even aware it's a problem.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, if you find yourself standing at the fridge like I did as a child, or you find yourself in the pantry and you're just grabbing a handful of something and eating without noticing the flavor, without really knowing what you're doing, if you're there and you stop, and you realize, oh, actually, I'm upset about an argument I had with my husband, or, I'm upset about something somebody said today, and at this, when I was picking up my kids from school, or maybe an argument you had
Yeah.
with your mother, whatever it is, or work stress, when we realize, oh, actually, this is work stress and I'm just distracting myself by, wolfing down whatever I find in the fridge, without stopping to ask myself, like, does my body need a meal right now? Like, am I physically hungry? Yeah. It's getting on top of that emotional eating. is, it takes an awful lot of practice and a commitment to recognizing that, okay, this isn't healthy. I want to make changes. I need to come back to the body, and then find other ways to cope, process the feelings, and sit with them and be, and not try and escape through food, because it doesn't solve anything. I mean, the initial problem is still there. Then you just have the whatever you were upset about plus a tummy ache if you've just comfort eaten, half a birthday cake that was left over in the fridge.
Yeah.
So you've got two problems there, not one. So it doesn't work. Yeah, I mean, it took me years to learn this. As I said, there'll still be challenging days, but I can stop myself now and realize what's going on if I find myself in the kitchen, because I know that there's something that I need to process, like an emotion that I need to give space to. Rumi says in that beautiful poem, The Guest House, welcome the emotions, all of them, allow them, they're clearing us out for some new delight. I have that in a frame actually in my house because I find it incredibly beautiful and wise and exactly what we all need to remember. These emotions flow through us and pass. We need to give them space to be. Escaping them, it doesn't work if we try and escape through food. It just doesn't. We're still left with the emotion within that we haven't processed or dealt with. And we've got a tummy ache. It's not a win,
Yeah, wow. I did prepare a lightning round section.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. What's one word that defines your current season of life?
Oh, spring. If it's the season, it's spring right now. Everything is blossoming and blooming and just beginning to emerge. Mm-hmm. If it was out of the 4 seasons, I would have to say it's spring right now. It's spring. Everything's just, seedlings are starting to grow and bloom. And I feel this next stage of my life is just beginning. Mm-hmm.
Okay. If we wrote a book, a memoir, about this phase of your life, what would the title of the book be?
The next chapter.
The next chapter. Wow. Wow.
Definitely.
I love that.
That is
wow.
the working title.
At a point in that, I almost got confused. I thought you were like, oh, are you talking about the next chapter? And like, I said book, not chapter.
No,
yeah, well, I love that.
yeah.
What's
the title of my next book actually?
Wow, the next
Thank
chapter.
you.
Wow. Okay. What does freedom feel like to you now?
Oh, it feels like joy. Yeah, it feels like joy. It's exciting. It feels expansive. It just and it also, absolutely joyful. Mm-hmm.
Complete this sentence. Self-improvement is dash.
Mm-hmm. Love. Self-improvement is absolutely love.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Wow. Thank you so much. Where can listeners get a copy of your book and also connect with you?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So they can go to janemcguinnesstheauthor.com. There's also a Substack. All Things Moderation is my Substack. People can go to Amazon. It's available. Barnes and Noble, Indigo, all throughout Amazon. There is also on Audible, the audiobook, the ebook, or the paperback they can order. So that ships everywhere, and they can download the ebook and the audio version if they prefer. Some people love to listen to a book, while they're driving on their way to work. So that's obviously automatic, and that's all on Amazon, or through my website. There's a lot of other links if people prefer not to use Amazon. So it's janemcguinnesstheauthor.com.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll add the links.
And I hope they enjoy it if they do.
Yeah, I'll add the links to the description and the show notes.
Thank you. No,
thank yeah. It's been an absolute delight chatting to you.
And thank you for having me, Wisdom. It's been a pleasure. No, thank you for welcoming me onto your podcast. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about my book and the journey. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Let me know when you write. That's it for today's episode of the Observeday podcast. Thank you for spending your time with us as we explore today's observance. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and share it with a friend who'd love to celebrate life's special days too. Don't forget to join the newsletter at observeday.com/join for more observance stories, tips, and updates. Until next time, keep finding meaning in every day.